Welcome back to another episode of the Look at My Mum Hustling podcast. We're back again for another episode, and I feel a little bit underprepared, but it's fine.
It's the intro, so I'm surprised and impressed. I'm so suppressed.
We just got to show up, right? That's what we're all about, whether it's we're prepared or underprepared. We're here, we're recording, we're determined to never miss an episode as well, and we haven't since we've had
You say that. I think every time we state one of these things, next week it's inevitably, well, this is cardboard tape, looking like wood.
MDF, yeah.
I mean, last time I knocked on wood, I ripped the MDF
That's right,
that
you
one.
did too. But hey, we're determined to not miss another episode anyway. So, you know, whether it's late night on a Sunday night or first thing Friday morning, here we are showing
up. We did make a rule that said
doing the work.
If the show can't happen one week, one of us has to do the show solo.
Yes.
And I've been doing my own solo one called Double Shot anyway, so I really just going to palm it off onto you one week, perhaps.
Yeah, go for it. I'll run it myself. I'll have a couple of articles.
Do you need me right now? Or?
No, you can get out. You can have the morning off.
I'll seriously leave right now.
No, you don't. I do need you. Next time, I just need a bit. If I know I'm doing it by myself, I'll have some stuff lined up. So maybe I'll talk about the new movie I watched last night while you fell asleep.
Well, it's not new. It was an old movie and it was horrible.
Don't
you hate that when the payoff is never that good? I feel like, you know how Rotten Tomatoes and what's the other one?
IMDb.
They give you ratings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps there should be solely some sort of rating or point system based on if the payoff is worth it. Because the number you get from Rotten Tomatoes might be about the character development, the storyline, the cinematography, the director, the script, dialogue, sound production. There's so many things that can factor that score.
Mm-hmm.
But potentially, if you could narrow it down to specific parts of the film,
Mm-hmm.
and you can prioritize what you care about most. For example, like I love June.
Mm-hmm.
In particular, I love obviously the cinematography, the sound, all the sound effects and the backing music and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just elevates it to that next level. But perhaps the payoff at the end is never that good. So maybe we should just call it payoffvids.com or something.
Yeah, like because it's the movie could be awesome leading up, you're really enjoying it, and the ending just sucks.
In which case you've wasted all your time.
Exactly.
But you can suffer through an hour and a half movie if the cinematography is not that great, if the dialogue's a bit clunky, if the payoff is good. So it's kind of that question of what's the most important factor to you, because you don't want to get through an hour and a half, stay up late and watch a movie, spend that time, and then the payoff is below par.
Yeah, or in cinema terms, anticlimactic.
Anticlimactic.
Yeah. But what was the movie? It was Infinity. It was Infinite with Mark Wahlberg. I like a little kind of dumb action with a bit of, like magic sort of fantasy aspects and stuff to it. This one was just like they get reincarnated and they can remember all their past lives and stuff, and they have like the skills and everything for it, which is like interesting. And I was kind of enjoying it. Drew fell asleep because it's not his jam and it was late.
That's what I do generally.
Yeah. But the ending was just kind of like, it was one of those ones. And I was just like, okay.
That's what I'm saying. So what if you could see a score that gave you, out of possible 10, this has a
like, is it worth your time?
The payoff of 4 is not worth your while.
Yeah. That would probably be pretty decent.
I feel like you would like, what was that called? Infinite? Limitless? Have you seen Limitless?
I have, yeah. It's kind of like Limitless, but that's like more like drugs, I guess. But it's probably closer to Jumper than anything else, I would say, with just having that kind of, like everything's sort of real, but there's this kind of like supernatural element to it.
Interesting. All right. Well, don't watch Infinite then.
No, that's not a recommendation from Look Mama Hustling. It's not something we would recommend watching. So unless you're into that kind of thing and you liked, I don't know, like Uncharted, with that was Mark Wahlberg as well, and Spider-Man dude, what's his name? Yeah, Tom something. No,
you got to finish it now. You can't leave everyone hanging with no last name.
I forgot his last name. That's fine. It's Tom something. I want to say Tom Hardy, but that's not him. That's fine.
All right. Well, I'll pick up the slack here because Sarah is lacking on words, apparently.
Yeah, if I yell out in like halfway through the episode, and then I'll just be like, oh, it's Tom blah, blah, blah.
Tom Spider-Man.
Tom Spider-Man. What's his name? You searching? Thank you.
Holland.
Thank you. Yes, Tom Holland.
All right. Well, That was an interesting first part of the show. Anyway.
That's what you get when I do the intro.
So I'll rip into some news for the week, some interesting news for people that like to hustle and learn about hustling and things of that nature. Spotify have some interesting news this week. We love Spotify. If you're listening to the pod, you can actually watch the pod on Spotify as well. It's a big benefit of following us at the Look Mum pod.
It's my main audio platform. Like I pretty much do all my podcasts through there and my music and stuff. I rarely listen to like Apple Podcasts anymore.
So every episode that we release on it, you can watch the video version. And there's usually like a template or a default question that goes along with the episode.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone clicks it. I haven't seen any podcast where people actually type it in. But I guess that could replace the element of YouTube comments by having some sort of questionnaire on Spotify. But that's a whole different conversation. But the point I'm trying to make is Spotify is a unique audio experience platform, and they've just announced that they're including audiobooks in their subscription fee. Their subscription service, or one of them at least.
Yeah.
As you said, you use Spotify as your primary audio application, I guess. You listen to music, you listen to podcasts. So,
and they do have some free books on there already. I know that we've listened to like there's like Robert Greene.
But they were illegal.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, people have ripped them.
Yeah.
And uploaded them. There's been a bunch in the kind of business and self-help world. People have uploaded the audiobook as an album. So each chapter is like a track.
Ah, I see.
And I imagine it's the same thing as when people rip videos onto YouTube.
For sure.
Inevitably, they'll get taken down.
Some sort of copyright, yeah.
But Spotify have made the move into audiobooks, which makes sense on paper because, like you said, that's where you go to listen to all your audio-related things. We both have Amazon. Oh, what's it called?
Audible is like Audible's like the main one where you get your audiobooks from. There is a Apple version, but I don't really listen to that one. But I don't have Audible.
Where's the Apple one built into? Apple Music or
I think it's built into
Kindle?
No, it's built into Apple Music. Like Kindle is owned by Amazon, so anything Kindle wise is Amazon. Yeah.
But what app do you listen? Oh yeah, true.
And then
Apple has Apple Books.
Yeah.
And then it has like iTunes.
Yeah, which is like Apple Music now.
So straight away, it's becoming a clunky ecosystem for audio listeners.
Yeah.
So that's basically what I'm trying to say is Spotify have come in to save the day.
Yes.
Audible's great. I think it's $15 a month and you get one credit, and the credit can be used for literally any book.
And sometimes you find yourself, you realize, because if you read physical books and also listen to them, sometimes you can stack them up. I think we had a point where we had like 3 or 4 stacked up and we paused the subscription.
In terms of the credits building up?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we paused it for 3 months. So we didn't lose the credits, basically. But I think, I could be wrong, I think once you cancel your Audible subscription, your library goes away as well.
No, it doesn't, because
sure?
I cancelled mine. Like I still have it. I'm just not have it, but like I still have an account.
So the ones you have used credit, the files you have used your credits towards remain in there.
Exactly, because I've purchased them. So they're mine.
Yeah, I was under the impression that they just basically kick you out. You don't have an account anymore.
No, you can still access it.
Okay,
yeah.
Interesting. So, yeah, Spotify's come in and has audiobooks now, which I guess the main competitor, as we're just alluding to, is Audible. Because I haven't heard of anyone listening to audiobooks via Apple.
No, and they did a lot of like promotion and stuff. So they had a lot of celebrities talking about Audible and stuff. Do you remember the ads with the orange headphones?
There's still lots of ads for it.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to have an audiobook platform where you have a subscription fee that allows you to basically cash in your credits.
100%. And then with just say you are on Amazon and you are shopping for books, right? We'll have the paperback. Yes, it has the Kindle. And then if you pay a tiny bit extra, you also get the complimentary audio version. And they're actually quite seamless as well. So wherever you leave off in the book one, it can go into like the audio version.
Which makes sense. I like to do a lot of highlighting and things. With audiobooks, it's kind of difficult.
It is, yeah.
Note-taking is there's no real way to do it unless you just have some sort of capturing system on your Apple Notes or whatever device you use.
Spotify, Audible, if you could do that, that would be absolutely amazing.
There is
Oh, you could always actually, sorry to cut you off. You can always screen record on your phone, like particular parts, but then it's kind of like
if you hear a good
like a little good part or a good segment. I used to just screenshot where it was in the phone, but I haven't actually then gone back to the audiobook to that part to like grab that like good quote that I listened to or the bit that I resonated with. So then there has to be like a better way to.
There was an app I was seeing. This is kind of moving
like a
back,
transcript,
moving into podcasts. We'll get back to audiobooks in a second.
Mm-hmm.
There was an app, I probably can't find it as of now, where you can essentially highlight podcasts. So imagine you're highlighting a book. It'll just it'll essentially just take a timestamp in and out of when the topic is or the sentence or the phrase is that you like. And basically you're getting a clip or an excerpt out of the actual podcast, which is essentially just a highlight. All that to say, Spotify now have audiobooks to compete with Audible. So they're basically...
I think it's a good thing because you need competitors in the market, right, to then be able to have better pricing or like, because if there's only just Audible around, then they're just going to keep doing the same thing they're doing that like someone else coming into the market is going to probably help push them, offer better services or better
you need
features.
competition,
Yeah, exactly.
And like what better, like you started off the conversation by saying I get all my audio stuff from Spotify. And it just makes sense.
Yeah. If I could get my audiobooks also from Spotify as well, just on one platform and it's like organized and files, like that's going to be super handy.
So we'll get into this article that's released by Spotify, this press release. The main question is, it makes sense to have another type of audio content available through the biggest audio app in terms of monthly listeners. But now the question becomes, is there extra fees? How do I actually access things? What are the limitations? What are the advantages? And stuff like that. So we'll rip into that right now. This literally happened this week. From Spotify Newsroom. I guess it's a blog. Yeah, it's a blog. Last year, we announced that users would be able to purchase and listen to hundreds of thousands of audiobooks on Spotify, advancing our vision for making Spotify the seamless one-stop destination for all things audio. Listeners in the US, Canada, UK, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand jumped on the opportunity to sink into sonic worlds created by some of their favorite authors and narrators. Someone has gone and dumped a lot of sort of punchy words in here. Sink into sonic worlds. All right, you don't have to elaborate.
They want to make it sound fancy.
I'm going to sink into some sonic worlds. How about I just want to listen to some stuff?
Yeah, can I just listen to some books, please?
Just let me listen to books. Today, we're starting an entirely new chapter for our audiobooks offering by making more than 150,000 audiobooks available as part of Spotify premium subscriptions. To start, we're offering each premium individual as well as plan managers for family and duo accounts. So basically, if you have a solo premium account, which is what, $15, $16, $17, or you're the owner of a family account. So not everyone in the family account gets it, but if you're the primary email address, I guess, you have access as well. But for example, you're the second.
I was going to say, because we've got like a couple, like a family one, so you get the audiobooks and I don't.
That would be correct, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll figure it out. And they're allowed to have 15 hours of listening per month, and that'll be part of the fee. Which will give them the ability to enjoy as many titles as they want within that monthly allocation. So first of all, we'll break that down.
So 15 hours. So depending on the audiobook, some will range to 5 to 6 hours or like long ones. You usually can get short reads for like 3. So you'll probably be able to get maybe like 3 books out of it.
So this is the interesting thing. With Audible, so we're just going to play... I guess devil's and angel's advocate here. Is angel's advocate a phrase?
No, I don't think so.
I just made it one though, so that's kind of cool.
Well, you got the angel and devil on your shoulder, whatever like that phrase is.
Right. All right, so we'll play both sides of the fence.
Yep.
With Audible, you get 1 credit per month for $15. I think you can just buy more credits with $15. That's 1 book, regardless of length. There's no limitation in terms of how many hours you spend listening, or if you want to spend 6 months listening to a book. Basically, every month you're charged for 1 credit, and then your credits will stack up. And if you start exceeding your credits, I think I've started getting notifications when it's saying you have 5 or 6 unused.
Yeah.
You might want to use them soon.
Well, they get to a certain point where they can to start to expire. They put that like time limit that like
So that's the limitation there is the expiration of credits.
Mm-hmm.
So $15 a month, right? So $15 a book, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Some books I've listened to are 3 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
One I just listened to about Genghis Khan was, I think, 14 hours long.
Oof.
So quite a thick history book.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a bunch in the middle range that are sort of those longer self-help type books that are, 8 hours or 6 hours.
The Julia Cameron, The Artist's Way, I have that is 7 hours.
Yeah. So let's say low is 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've listened to ones that are like 45 minutes, but low is 3, high end 15.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So halfway between there, we're looking at sort of 9, 8 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just use 9 as a benchmark for a decent book.
Yeah.
500 pages or something. So comparing apples versus apples, if you don't have to cash in, if you're already paying for Spotify, you're already getting the benefits. You're getting ad-free music. You're not stuck on.
You mess with the brand already. Like you're happy with what it is, so you're happy to pay already.
Well, you're overcoming all the ads and everything that are getting shown to you. If you're not paying for the premium, you can't choose particular songs. You kind of just get thrown into an album and it gets shuffled around.
Yeah, and I think you only can like skip maybe up to 3 in a row,
so
and then
there are limitations there. So if you're already paying for the subscription fee on Spotify, you're getting free books. That's more or less the point here. And you're getting up to 15 hours of free books each month. And if we're saying about 8 hours, you're basically getting 2 books on average per month for free.
Yeah.
Right? Which is saving you $30 on Audible.
Yes.
Because you'd be buying 2 credits, 2 books.
True. Very, very true.
So straight away, if you like listening to audiobooks and you're already a Spotify user and you have Audible at the moment, cancel Audible because you're going to be saving $15 a month to begin with, but you're also going to be getting an extra book. So you cancel $15 of Audible. You're getting 1 book on Spotify and you're immediately getting basically a second book for free.
Actually, could you do a quick Google how many books are available on Audible? Because there's only 150,000 on Spotify, which doesn't seem like a lot. I wonder if it's going to tell you the number. 400,000.
400,000.
Yeah.
But how many of those are kids' books? How many of those are just new release fiction ones that burn out after 4 weeks?
And they do have like Audible exclusive stuff on there as well.
Exactly. So it is bloated out with probably I want to say junk, which is kind of.
So let's say 100,000.
I don't mean to be harsh to the authors, but there is a lot of junk on there.
Yeah. So let's just say 100,000 is junk. So I'm just like trying to again, we're playing like devil's advocate, right?
Yeah.
So for that, you do have
double the offering.
Yes. So you have double the offering, but you have half the listen time in a way.
Yeah. But if you go in and look at the 150,000 audiobooks available on Spotify, they're ones that I would be more interested in.
I'm assuming there'll be popular titles or recent titles.
They'll probably be the top 200 titles from every category, not the bottom 200. Because when you go into Amazon and look at books before you go and filter it onto Audible, you can see its ranking. You can see it's ranked 300 in some random subcategory and it has 6 reviews.
Yeah.
They're the type of books that aren't going to be on Spotify. Spotify is going to
probably top tier
hand select them.
Yeah.
But in saying that, it's not going to just be 150,000 forever. Once the platform starts getting more listeners in for audiobooks, they can start to generate more data and the algorithm is going to start suggesting them to purchase the rights for other books.
Yeah, because that's what it is at the end of the day. Is like how many like publishing rights or whatever it's called.
Well, I guess they have to link up with publishing houses.
Exactly, because the authors need to get paid for their downloads or their listens and stuff. Same as the artists on Spotify. You need to get paid for the listens and things like that.
Well, they might get paid twice now. It's same as an artist that gets their music streamed on Spotify and Apple. You're getting income from 2 sources. So it can only be a good thing for, as far as I can see, unless I'm missing completely, it can only be a good thing for the consumers because they're given options. And in terms of the authors themselves, the creators, having your stuff in more places to be listened to. Even if you're not making that much money on the actual streaming side, you're getting brand recognition, you're getting name recognition with each and every listen. So pretty interesting stuff. 150,000 is just to start with.
Yeah.
I think it will expand over time, and I think they're going to take a massive market share away from Audible.
Yeah.
Simply because Audible's, it's got one job. Listen to audiobooks. Spotify, if you're already on there, and you're like, I've listened to 4 hours of music today. I'm not really into the mood of a podcast. What free books can I listen to?
Yeah.
You've got the option immediately without, having to go and search for it. It's there in the app. You don't have to jump to a different app. Another thing before you jump in is it's streaming versus downloading. With Audible, you have to download.
You do.
With Spotify, as far as I'm aware, you just press play. It's the same as streaming a song. It's going to sort of not even buffer. It's going to like load the rest of the audiobook up while the first few minutes are playing.
Yeah.
So it's, Audible is instantaneous to a degree, but Spotify is going to be just that little bit faster.
Yeah. Well, you can download on Spotify if you want to. You can download onto your device. Or listen offline, sorry, that's what you can do, so you can download some of it. But I think one thing that it's going to do is probably introduce a whole bunch of new people to books in general.
Yes.
Like I've worked with a whole bunch of people that like, I don't read, or I don't have time to read, or I don't enjoy reading. I'm like, but do you listen to podcasts? And like, yeah, I'm like, it's exactly the same thing. So I think because now that those people that, mess with podcasts and love to listen to music, but don't really like enjoy sitting down reading, I think this is going to introduce a whole bunch of people to another world of like books and just that accessibility aspect to it for those that, like to listen while they're driving to work or doing the housework or the gardening, whatever it is. I think it's going to be able to introduce people to a lot more books, which is always exciting. Like I'm always happy to recommend books to people that are looking for recommendations or something new. A favorite one that I'm recommending, or I always love to recommend to, because I work in a retail space, is Shoe Dog by Philip Knight. And they're just like, I don't have time to read. I'm like, listen to the audiobook because he narrates it himself. It's a really interesting listen. I don't think I would have had the same experience if I was just reading the book. I really enjoyed the audiobook version. That was like a really good audiobook.
What's interesting, and that's fantastic for getting more people reading, first and foremost. What's interesting about the app straight away, I can't really show it here on screen. Maybe I can. It has these features that Spotify is known for that you don't really get on Audible, which is playlists that are pre-made, hand-selected stuff, not stuff that Audible themselves and publishing houses are pushing.
There's that social aspect to it and that community aspect to it. So you could like have a playlist of your favorite books.
Yes.
So
like there's a category here, audiobooks at the moment, and they're essentially playlists, titles taking over social media, so stuff that's popular on social media, from podcast to audiobook, stories behind the music, best-selling authors, ones that are narrated by celebrities. So it's way more, I guess, millennial, Gen Z focused, because it's just...
I'm not sure it's going to work, but you should bring up Audible, like the page, to see if you can like do a bit of not a side-by-side, but it definitely does look...
I think you have to be logged in.
Yeah.
What is interesting, I'm trying to show it here, but it doesn't really show you, is because as I was saying, you have music and podcasts on there. It can now link in audiobooks based on your recommendations of your other types of content listen to. So listen to Joe Rogan a fair bit. Yeah. There's always interesting guests, comedians, scientists, athletes. Everyone comes on. They always talk about different books.
Yes.
So now you get recommended books based on what the audience of that podcast is listening to or suggesting.
Yeah. Or just say if you are listening to a podcast and the guest recommends a book, you can literally jump straight, like while you're still listening, search that book in the same app.
Save it for later, download it for later. Or someone like Ryan Holiday, who we've talked about quite a bit on this podcast, he has his own podcast, but he also has 1,000 books. Exactly.
So he can link it all up into one area.
Pretty crazy.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Very, very cool for multifaceted creators. And even... It's a bit off topic, but we know based on stuff we've done in the past and research we've done before is with YouTube, the algorithm is so intense that the software and the AI and stuff behind YouTube is so intense that it actually analyzes every image in a video, every street sign, the wording on the street sign. It can analyze things so deeply,
Mm-hmm.
not to mention the actual dialogue, the transcript.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine Spotify would have to have a similar technology where if we mention a book here on this pod,
Mm-hmm.
it could somehow pull in that we've mentioned this book, you've referenced Artist Way 6 times in the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And you'd imagine if the algorithm was smart, it would then start suggesting that book title on its own without us manually having to like enter in ones that we recommend.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting. I think, it's going to be quite a leg up compared to the other like audiobook platforms. Because
there's only one. It's Audible. There's no other options.
Well, you've got like you've got Apple. I think there's like Google. You probably have like there's some other probably little online versions and stuff as well. I know there's probably some publishing houses that have their own audio platforms. You know, like Barnes and Noble or something.
But if you went to the street and interviewed 100 people,
mm-hmm.
I don't even think that many people would know about Audible to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And then Spotify probably more of a household name, I would imagine.
Well, because the whole like reading book aspect, it's still like for us, it seems like such a common thing because we love books and we love reading, but it's not like you got a lot of people out there that don't enjoy sitting down reading or just never got into it, I think is like the term that most people use. So yeah, it's probably true that a lot of people don't know about like the audiobook platforms or anything like that just because they don't enjoy reading.
All right, let's jump back into the article because we went off a huge tailspin, which was awesome. So as we said, 15 hours listening per month.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you just want to read fiction, you can probably bang out 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's total length of the book or if you were listening to everything on double speed. Is it the time of the actual file or is it the time that you're actually listening?
That's interesting.
It probably won't tell you. I imagine it's the length of the title.
Yeah. Because I have to clock that the only way.
So you could just put it on like 10x speed,
mm-hmm.
record it, and then slow it back down 10x speed and listen to it. If you want to do some like 2000s hacking pirate.
LimeWire type stuff. Yeah, sure.
So what's more, this means eligible users are now getting even more from their premium subscriptions, an on-demand catalogue of more than 100 million tracks,
mm-hmm.
5 million podcasts, and over 150,000 audiobooks.
So it's more of just like, you know what, thank you for being a loyal listener. We're going to give you more.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not free to, like thinking about profit margins.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just remove the audiobook element right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what margins they make on a $15 subscription. Probably like a fair bit, I'd imagine. Because they're paying for servers, all that technology, that software would be a lot to maintain and keep up.
Well, I'm pretty sure you could probably just search up how much did the, authors get from an audiobook, like percentage-wise. Yeah.
But in saying that, obviously just adding this whole extra element of content in there, that brings in, if we're not paying more for the subscription, that means the net profit per subscription per month would have to go down because the cost of the expense of running Spotify is going to go up because they have to pay publishing houses.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine over time, this just gives them a reason to justify increasing the monthly subscription to cover those new expenses.
Yeah.
So I would say every year for the next 5 years, they're going to up at $1. You'd have to up the actual subscription.
Eventually, yeah. As they get more books,
so it seems good on paper now we're giving you free stuff, but ultimately there'll be a price to pay for it, which would just mean a few extra dollars every month. But in saying that, comparing that against the Audible $15 a month, it's quite clear where the better value is.
Yeah.
If the stuff you want to listen to is within this range of books, audiobooks that Spotify has got.
That's true. And if you're happy to stream it, not download it, because just say that's probably, again, a benefit for Audible is like if you're traveling, going on a plane and you don't have access to like Wi-Fi or anything like that, then you can download the book and listen to it and it's on your phone.
All right, so this feature will be available to premium users in the UK and Australia starting tomorrow, with the US later this year. So this article came out on October 3rd. So today's October 6th, so as of this week, start of October.
That's pretty good because Australia is usually last with this kind of stuff.
And probably, I would imagine, in terms of super developed Western societies, not that super developed, pretty
we're pretty like
pretty bogan down here. I don't think that the book listenership would be that high.
Unless it's like Australia's like just one of those not secret, but like it's like actually a lot of people in Australia read books.
More people read beer and go to watch football than read books.
More people read the trivia on the bottle caps than anything else.
Fantas don't even exist anymore. We believe, this is back to the article, we believe that offering personalized music, podcasts, and audiobooks on a single platform gives you a superior way to connect with your favorite artists, podcasters, creators, and authors all in one spot.
Mm-hmm.
Not only can you listen to some of your favorite authors' works, but you can also tune into podcasts where fans dissect the most minor details of a story and find the hidden meaning in every sentence without leaving the app. A catalog currently encompasses upwards of 70% of best-selling books. So we touched on that before.
70% is a good amount.
With titles from HarperCollins, Macmillan, Penguin, Random House, Simon Schuster, all those big ones that you're aware of. To listen to your first book, simply type in the search bar, hit play. You can also explore audiobook recommendations easily, which was what I was mentioning, from your home feed, or head to Audiobooks Hub to find it editorial or curated of top titles. So I think we could just make potentially a playlist of ones that we've mentioned or read frequently going forward. So if you guys want to just listen to things that we've very recently finished and it might put things a bit more context, that'd be a cool idea.
Yeah, because we actually reference books quite a bit on this podcast, so yeah, that would be a good idea.
So 15 hours monthly means you can listen the way you want. Will you explore multiple titles from the evolving, regularly refreshed selection, or stick with one and listen from start to finish? For those super audiophiles who use up their 15 hours before their monthly billing cycle refreshes, you can purchase a 10-hour top-up. You can check how many hours you have left in the settings. You can take audiobooks wherever you go, with Spotify available on over 2,000 devices, more than 200 brands, so it's just super available everywhere. As you listen, our automatic bookmarking feature will save your place so you can easily pick up where you left off. Make sure to utilize the end of chapter feature within Spotify's sleep timer so you can fall asleep to your favorite stories without having to rewind. So you can basically be like, I'm going to fall asleep in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
This chapter's 25. Don't go any further. So I don't want to hunt for too long tomorrow finding where I fell asleep.
Yep.
So some cool features, I think.
I think so.
The bookmarking thing there is interesting. If you can somehow press a button and... Because I know with Kindle you can highlight, you can bookmark pages for the actual ebook version. If you could somehow highlight resonating points or sentences or parts of a book or chapter, that would be a big game changer for someone like me that likes to take notes or remember important parts about a book. You don't want to spend 15 hours on a book and then the week later you kind of forget all the most interesting parts about it.
The only way I sort of see that working, and it's probably it would cost more because you need to have like the Kindle version, or just need the transcript, which is just like the book and the audio sort of running at the same time. So just say if you click into it, it then comes up with the actual writing.
No, I wouldn't even. I don't think they want to do anything with any text.
No, I'm just saying this is like that. That's in this way I see that highlighting kind of working. So if you're listening to the audiobook, you click onto a part like transcript or something, and it's like it's talking out, like maybe it's underlining the words, and you can highlight those. And I don't think they would do that. I don't think they want to do anything with words. Even lyrics for songs aren't even there half the time. I think that. My idea is just you just hit a bookmark. It just flags it, and then you can go back. Potentially, you can add in like a title of what the bookmark is. This bookmark was about CEO whoever bought this business for this much money, and then you can come back through and look at your 50 bookmarks, and it's just your small little one sentence entries to jog your memory. Yeah,
or at the very least, just a bookmark icon.
Yeah. So then
Especially, sorry, cut you off.
No.
Only because it's so long. A 1 hour podcast, you have time in your life to go back and listen to it. For a 15-hour book, it's a lot to go back through 15 hours to find that 1 minute that you wanted.
Oh, 100%.
That's kind of my point. For me anyway, I don't just listen to books. I like to make references to them.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And like it's one of those ones where it's like just trying to find a better system to then capture it because again, it's going to be harder to go back to, just say chapter like 11 and then finding minute, 25 or whatever it is. Like it's going to be hard. So did Amazon or like Kindle and Audible lose their opportunity of having it integrated into one app? So imagine if you're reading Kindle and you're like, oh, you know what? I need to go out and go somewhere, but I'm really enjoying this book. I'm going to switch to the audio version and it's all in the one thing.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's a jumping all over the place. That's the problem. So, yeah, I don't see Amazon linking up two apps anytime soon.
Yeah, that would have been smart though. That would have been super handy. You probably have to maybe instead of paying like $7 for the Kindle version, you'd pay, I don't know, like $10, like $3 extra, and you get both. You get the audio and the physical.
It's just the friction of jumping between apps. No one likes doing it. As simple as it is for your hand to swipe across, it's just not beneficial or convenient or efficient to jump between apps from the same company, which is, it's all good.
Yeah.
Which is like why X is doing its thing now. So it's all in one.
Yeah.
Every time you jump out of an app, you're probably less likely to go back because you're in a different mind space now.
Oh, 100%. And that's the goal of all these apps, whether it's Meta, Instagram, like you said, YouTube, like all these kind of places, they want you to be on there for as long as possible. Like that's why YouTube have like a shopping feature or TikTok have a shopping feature because they don't want you to leave to have a look at something else. They want you to stay in one. So Spotify is just saying, yeah, let's just put it all in one app.
And Spotify don't want you to charge you for it. Like there's no external links to go and purchase more stuff because it's all included in your subscription.
Yeah, like that's one way to become a fan favorite, and people love Spotify. And I know, like I love Spotify is because obviously the more you listen to it, the better it's going to come at the recommendations and things like that. So people love, and I love like the playlist. Like I want 80s vibe, or I want like a cooking playlist or something like that. They have these really cool playlists that you can listen to that just like suit the mood.
But also they do just cool things like the end of year summary where it gives you all your top genres, the most listened to songs, just cool things to basically share how you've been using the app. I feel like Audible is just purely transactional. Come here, get what you want, see you later. They're not trying to build an experience.
No, it's like a one-off. It's like going to the bookstore, buying a book, coming home. Like that's very much like the format of it.
Spotify's like, come to our cafe. We hang out. We have all the stuff here. We have art on the wall.
Yeah.
We have little sections put away for you. Like everything's designed for you to enjoy your time here. Whereas like you said, Audible is basically check out your book and then
leave.
Go be on your own. Yeah.
Whereas like, yes, Spotify is like share your experience with the people around you.
Like, culture's always going to win. Culture over commerce.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
That's a good way to title this episode.
It is
probably.
Culture over commerce. Or like Audible versus Spotify.
What are they?
That's like an accent.
Karate mat. Oh.
I don't know. People that are listening be like, "What noise is it?"
Yeah, I don't even know.
I'm doing.
They're
hands,
like, "Oh, she's about the girl that started the episode's back." Right. I wonder how far they're going to take this. Because once Spotify add in audiobooks, what other audio experience is there to like how can they expand in the future? In 5 years, what's next? They can only really move into video. They've got video podcasts.
Yeah.
They can only they're not going to go to anything text-based or social media where there's posts. It's about the artists and the creators. Whether it's a podcaster, which is basically a creator, an author, which is a creator, and a musician, which is a creator. It's not designed for just everyday people to be on there posting.
Yeah, it's audio experience, not a visual experience.
So the only thing I can see them doing with my limited business knowledge in this head I got here.
Yeah, and that noggin.
Is adding in, well, they want to try and take market share away from other companies. So potentially YouTube, like, they're not going to take market share away from Netflix and Hulu and all these other big streaming companies, but places like YouTube where movies and TV shows can be purchased as like a secondary thing on top of the main feed of videos, they could start doing that where they, but this is years down the track. But all they can do is move into video. I don't think they can move in. There's nowhere else in the audio lane to go. Going to audiobooks probably doesn't make a lot of sense for them. potentially it could, but I think more video because they've already got the infrastructure to host video podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So they might have some sort of new release TV show or movie option where you can have like in-app purchases.
Interesting. I would see like video clips doing well. So like MTV sort of style, having that aspect.
Channels.
Yeah. So it would be, because, on YouTube Music
that format's dead though. Like that's pay TV is dead now.
Yeah. It depends like why you go to Spotify. Do you go to Spotify to watch or just to listen? But yeah,
well, we're talking about culture. It's about culture.
So the expansion. So one thing maybe that could work would be keeping it on that creative scale is like music documentaries or music shows or like artist shows or artist kind of aspects. So you wouldn't have like a sports thing on Spotify.
Why not? You have sports podcasts, you have sports books on there.
That's true.
Like it started as music. You're like kind of living in that generation one mindset of musicians.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like it could go into that video format.
It's not going to compete with YouTube as like an everyday content creators place to upload and press publish on things, but I think it can be a way to basically have paid for products on top, like new release movies. Or how Vimeo is not really massive, but you can purchase small short films that cost money to actually purchase as opposed to just more free content.
Yeah. I'd see that happening more. So, Spotify going more into that sort of space rather than like the TikToks or like short format. I don't see them doing that
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's creators versus just, everyone's a creator in essence. But in terms of someone that's...
It's almost like, not traditional creative, but like just like that sort of more of the traditional creative media rather than the new creative media.
Just, I guess lay people creating versus creators creating.
Yeah.
As weird as that kind of sounds.
I know. I understand where you're coming from.
Interesting.
Yeah. Very, very interesting.
That's the only thing I could see them doing in the future. I don't see them. What else can they do in the audio world? Soundscape. There already is sounds. You can listen to rainforest sounds all day long on there. What else can you do?
They've got white noise, maybe like ASMR, but they would have to have maybe ASMR on there already. There'll be ASMR podcasts for sure.
So I'm just looking at Spotify news. This is from this today. New artist profiles highlight music, stories, merch, and events. So now, like literally 2 minutes ago, I was mentioning you. There's no reason to purchase things,
but like artist merch makes sense.
Now, once they build in the infrastructure of being able to purchase things in the app that aren't included in your subscription, additional content, additional items.
Yes.
That's where it makes more sense to have movies in there where you can pay or rent them.
It's just as long as I think their primary function is always going to be audio, and as long as your audio experience isn't getting interrupted when you're doing all this other stuff, that would make sense. It just depends like longevity wise, they probably would have to move into that video space. But yeah, supporting artists being able to sell their own, merch or whatever it is kind of is like a good idea as well.
It's going to take a long time for another competitor to come in to compete with Apple, first and foremost, which is hard enough, but then to overtake Spotify and overtake 3 avenues of audio.
Yeah. And it's not American either. And that's like a lot of these companies like American and they dominate like Google and YouTube and Apple and all that kind of stuff. And these guys are Swedish, I think, from memory.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. This is from TechCrunch today. Spotify today is rolling out a big change in terms of how users connect with artists. With the newly debuted artist profile pages, content has been reorganized into 3 main tabs, including music, events, and merch. So basically, you can just have your own website on there now.
Oh, so you can advertise your shows and your tickets and all that kind of stuff.
There's always been, not always, but for a while now, there's been tour dates on an artist page. But I don't know if it ever linked out to the actual ticket provider or things like that.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of cool. But if you have a website and you're an artist, what are you going to have on there? You're going to have your vinyls, your T-shirt, your tour dates, some photos. That's what you're going to have on there. Now you can just have it built into the app, which, you still probably want a website, but people don't have to go searching for info. It can all be in one place. They
Exactly.
can browse while listening.
Yeah, maybe watch a behind the scenes clip or something like that.
The music tab will also now not only feature the artist's tracks and albums, but also social features like clips.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have a song, you can have a short video clip or a teaser or a trailer built into it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can start to promote, rather than just uploading your songs,
Mm-hmm.
you can use it as a promotional tool. Because normally you use social
yeah.
media as the social draw, as the way to gauge interest
Mm-hmm.
and build brand on Instagram.
That's what a lot of modern music artists do. They'll use TikTok or Instagram Reels to like do a bit of a behind the scenes or promote a new album coming up,
But
or
if-
just like
that works,
Mm-hmm.
but it only works if you're following that artist to begin with.
Mhm.
Whereas if it's in Spotify, you're already following them because you're already listening to their stuff. You might even not be following their account, but because you've listened to them in the past, somewhere in the algorithm is going to feed you that artist back eventually anyway. So it's going to feed you those clips eventually anyway.
yes.
So I don't know, you might be working a corporate job and not follow people
Mhm.
on social media because it's like you're kind of representing a business venture or a business that you operate.
That's what
Whereas
LinkedIn's for, though.
Whereas on Spotify,
Yeah.
you're not representing a business or that it kind of makes sense. I'm
Yeah.
sure it does. So basically there'll be clips, short form videos on there to tell their stories. They can include fundraising links to allow artists to crowdsource. So that'd
That's
be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Artists can also use the music tab to showcase their popular releases, playlists. They can also have anything important to the artist, including a release, playlist, show announcement, new merch, or podcast they're on. This pick will expire every 6 months to encourage artists to regularly update their profiles. It's kind of cool. So
yeah.
you're
They want to keep that engagement. They just don't want it to be like set and forget kind of thing.
Yeah. If you just don't upload anything new, they're gonna basically push someone else's more recent relevant clips to you because most of us listen to more than one artist. So if you listen to 30 artists and 20 of them just aren't refreshing this page, the 10 people that are consistently reinvigorating their page are going to get pushed more and more. It's the TikTok, the Instagram game of just volume, quantity.
But they're also promoting like that community, that engagement aspect. They want people to be active. They don't want them to just,
They want them to fall in love with the artist, not just the tracks that the artist can provide, which is what we want. We want people to, adore artists, not just enjoy a song every now and then.
Yeah, they just don't want it that corporate, big, record company. They want that personable, like up close and personal.
You're going to sell more merch that way. It's the same as anything. That's why all these YouTubers from like 5-10 years ago had big merch lines that they're making millions and millions of dollars because you'd rather support this one guy that has a team of 3 versus, I don't know, Puma or Adidas or someone that has making tens and hundreds of millions of dollars off cheap labor, essentially. So being able to support those people at the ground level, super important. So they have clips and stories, so it's going to start looking more like Instagram, but for the artists. Can have a bunch of like their bio and things like that.
Oh, I like this one. So Spotify will also leverage the profiles to introduce fans to other music they may like via like fans also like page or appears on. So highlights other albums and compilations the artist appears on, including songwriters or producers. That's really interesting as well.
Yeah, backlinks to similar content or relevant content or just relationships that the artist has with other people. Ticket sales will be facilitated by Spotify's third-party partners, so Ticketmaster and all that will be kind of built into it by the looks of it.
Oh, goes a tiny bit. So Spotify notes that tests of its dedicated events tab boosted engagement with concerts by 70% and drove a 15% increase in ticket sales. That's pretty beneficial. So it's just another form of advertising if you're a small artist, because Spotify, they have big artists, but I think one thing that I really like about it is they still push these smaller indie independent artists as well. Yeah, that's really cool.
Think about how quickly your interest in something can just drop off. If you're listening to a music if you're listening to if you're listening to music of an artist on YouTube or something, then you have to stop and go to their website to buy a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
That transition might be a minute or 2 or 3 minutes. You can get distracted with other things. And I imagine if you looked at some study, every minute that you've moved away from the actual art
Mm-hmm.
to go and purchase something, you're probably less and less and less likely to end up buying it. Where if you're in the app listening, oh, this song's dope. Yeah, I got to buy a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And it's playing the whole time. It's going to drive engagement, which is what this is saying. Super interesting. On the merch tab, artists can show up to 12 of their merch items with the most recently listed items showing first. Partnered with Shopify, so obviously super easy to navigate and built in.
Good old Shopify getting in everything.
That's pretty much it. So there's a lot happening in Spotify going forward, and all of it makes sense. There's nothing too out of the box that doesn't fit the mold, if that makes sense. So yeah, plenty of room for growth on Spotify. Potentially, it's not financial advice, potentially a good time to get some stock while they're on that way up, because none of these things are going to be a detriment to the company.
No, or the people that release stuff on the platform either. It's only just going to benefit them more. Like, it's just more eyeballs, more like reason and more incentive to be on the platform as well. Yeah, it seems like they really have, obviously they're a business and they want profit and stuff, but it seems like their intention is creating a better experience for listeners, but also creating a better experience for artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You start seeing it installed on more smart TVs and devices.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Pretty
as
cool.
they can get like off the phone and onto a TV or onto a computer, like having that aspect as well, that's probably when you're going to start seeing more of that video format coming through.
All right. So if you're not on a Spotify subscription, I mean,
Did we convince you?
should have convinced them. This has been an ad. Thank you, Spotify, for paying us $0 and for getting us 5 listeners on this episode.
Yeah, this is not a sponsored ad or anything. We're just like, we like talking about things that we're generally interested in, and sometimes, we'll spend the whole episode talking about Spotify or updates that they do, or we'll spend a whole episode
Well, I mean, not the whole episode. You talked about some crappy movie for the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, but hey, it's how we vibe. But it's just, we like it, and we kind of see a good reason. We do pay for the premium one, so we've got the Duo account, I think it is. So Drew will get the books and I won't. That's fine.
Well, I mean, let's break down the math. So Spotify.
Well,
Duo.
that means you should cancel your Audible and I'll reinstate mine.
The question is, if you cancel Audible,
Yeah.
and you want to use, forget about whose account. Let's imagine you have access.
I see. Yeah.
Let's imagine we both have access to the the Spotify audiobooks. Are you going to be so limited with choice that you're like, I can't pick? There's no books. There's literally no books for me to read or listen to. It's not going to happen.
No.
There might be less options.
Yeah.
But there's still 150,000 options.
And they said 70%. Again, this is not a paid ad.
70% of bestsellers.
Yes.
So I don't know. If there's something not on there that you want, then I don't know. Too bad, I guess.
Yeah, or you just buy the book
Or you
separately.
want to buy the book. So Spotify Duo subscription cost. This is going to be Australian numbers. I mean, they did a price hike in July. So potentially they'd put a price rise up before they make this announcement.
Knowing this was like, of course they would have a projected plan. They would have this in the works for ages because they'll have to be
that would
talking
the
to
way do
publishing
it.
companies.
You'd bump the price up prior to, I mean, if it goes up $2 per month and it's been going for 3 months, that's extra $6 they get per account. And then how many accounts are there? 1 million?
Mm-hmm.
You got millions and millions of dollars straight away for that first bit of funding.
Yeah, very smart.
I mean, that's just basic math. I wouldn't call it smart.
No, but it's just like they're, rather than being like this and then like, okay, now we're going to hike the price.
Operate at a loss for a quarter or something.
Yeah.
Makes sense. We're kind of figuring out business on the fly here. It's kind of interesting. Premium Duo, let's say $17.99. So $18 plus what's Spotify? Audible? That's so confusing.
I think Audible $16.99.
Are we dealing in likes or absolutes here?
I don't know, Google it then.
You know how I hate this. I need actual numbers.
Yeah. How much?
$16.45 a month.
Okay. There you go.
Or 2 credits monthly. No, you see, for an extra $10, you get a second credit. But I
Right.
think you'd find that the numbers still are in Spotify's favor. $16.45. So we're looking at, if we were to pay Spotify Duo, where only I get audiobooks.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say I get 2 audiobooks, and you can't listen to either of them for that 2 for the 15-hour time limit. Then we both have Audible on top for $50.90 a month. We're getting 4 books in total,
Right.
3 of which I get to listen to. Right?
Yes.
$50, 4 books.
Yeah.
Let's imagine you can listen to all of them as well, though.
Yeah.
4 books, $50. If we were to remember those numbers, because my brain will forget in
4 books, $50.
6.5 seconds.
Yes.
Whereas if Spotify premium price, $12.99, and I imagine that's probably American, right?
No.
$12.99.
Okay.
So $12.99 times 2, $26.
Right.
So $26. I get 2, you get 2. If we're looking at that sort of 7 to 8 hour range, so we're saving $25.
Yeah. If we...
And for the same amount of books. Bro, we just saved $25 a month.
That's pretty good. All right. Nice.
We can pay for like
Math.
we could pay for like some ads, maybe
No,
more
the ads are meant to pay us.
coffee.
Yeah, more coffee.
We'll just put it in coffee fund.
All right.
So it makes sense. Makes financial sense to me.
It does. Yeah.
All right. Well, what makes more sense to me is back next week for
Yes.
episode 88, our birth year. 8's our favorite number. So next week's going to be a big one.
It is, yeah. Birth year. Maybe the podcast will be reborn again and there'll be a new backdrop. No, they won't.
Duh, that's a stressful thing to think about. Rise from the Ashes, episode 88. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening.
Thank you.
Please drop a rating and review if you like this episode. Let us know what you think about the Spotify versus Audible battle that's going to go ahead.
Do you even like Spotify?
And suggest us some books that we can use on our new plan.
Yeah.
Or what we can do with the money we're saving.
Yeah. Ooh, all the options. Please comment
All right.
and let us know.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Thanks.